Welcome to 60 Skills. And the topic of today's lecture is the stress adaptation cycle in meditation and yogic practice. Okay, one of the things that many people don't understand about the meditative process is that, like many other activities in life, it responds to the stress adaptation cycle, which simply put is you stress yourself doing something, you take a break, recover, and then when you come back, you're better at it than you were before you applied the stress. While it may be hard to understand or even to believe, the fact of the matter is all meditative and yogic processes are thoroughly grounded in the body, and that is the reason why these things happen. As a practical matter, once you develop a certain level of ability at something, if you stop practicing altogether, typically what you're left with is about 25 to 35% of the ability that you had when you were actively practicing. So in many regards, this is not unlike learning how to lift weights. You go to the gym, you start squatting. You start squatting more and more week to week, practice session to practice session. Several months later, you're squatting 200 kilos. Then you take a break. Well, when you come back, you don't start squatting with the empty bar the way you did when you first learned how to squat. Maybe you can squat 100 kilos. Maybe you can still squat 110 kilos. And you work your way up. Simply put, you keep part of the ability that you have developed. Meditative and yogic practice works in the same manner. When you stop practicing something, your ability at it becomes stale and degrades. However, when you start practicing actively again, you increase to that level that you are at much quicker than you were when you first learned how to do this from the beginning. So, how does some of this work? Well, okay. The single-pointed focus exercises, what some call the Samadhi exercises. I have done these for years, good 3 decades going on now. And with practice, I can easily get to that point where I hold fixed concentration on a single point from anywhere to 15 to 20 minutes without interruption. However, if I stop practicing, my ability to do this degrades down to 2 to 3 minutes or 5 minutes, somewhere in there. This is still far better than most people when they begin practicing these exercises and can't hold their attention on something without interruption for as little as 10 to 15 seconds in some cases, sometimes less. Now that said, my ability to get to that roughly 15 to 20 minute point comes back relatively quickly. Because of that, I still have to revisit these exercises a couple of times a month. I'm sure having a more regular practice with this would work better, but it works for what I want to do at this point in time. Now with certain kinds of things, like the weightlifting exercises or the fascia training exercises, this is very easy to understand because you're using resistance. So you can see how your performance of that exercise improves from session to session and how you need to restart with a lower weight when you come back. However, this is equally true with energetics. The energetic aspect of meditation is largely grounded in the breath. So if you stop training the breath through pranayama or like exercises, your ability tends to degrade. However, it too comes back relatively quickly. However, this is also the reason why, for a lot of practices, you have to make them part of your regular routine if you wish to maintain your ability at performing a given thing. So, for example, the various qigongs that a lot of people use for health purposes. Much like formal pranayama from the Hindu yogic systems, you have to practice these on a regular basis to really get the long-term benefits out of them. If you become good at them, you can be a little haphazard with it, but the fact of the matter is, much like with conventional exercise, if you want the benefit, you have to do it on a regular basis, and it simply has to become part of your schedule. So you need to understand, again, because your body is the medium, everything involving meditative and yogic practice responds to the stress adaptation cycle. And the more regular these cycles are, the more predictable it is for your body, and typically the better progress you can make. This is the reason why charting out your practice sessions in advance and sticking to that schedule is very helpful. So I hope this cleared up some questions out there regarding stress, adaptation, and meditative and yogic practice. If you liked today's lecture, please hit the subscribe button down below and give us a like. And if you're interested in more information on this topic, check out the details below the video. Otherwise, have a great day and be well.